but there's no question that you could buy a person in the Bible. This is where a lot of wokeism comes from. This is where a lot of progressive Christianity comes from, is people see things in the Bible that just don't make sense to them. They can't
Mhm.
they can't process it, like slavery. Okay. It's a good example. Well, the Bible condones slavery. Well, no, it doesn't actually condone slavery, but it did allow for indentured servitude.
Yep.
But chattel slavery, slave trading, was forbidden. It was a capital offense. But there's no question that you could buy a person in the Bible. And a lot of people say, well, I just can't accept that. Well, they did not have orphanages. They didn't have insurance companies. And they had a patriarchal society. So how are people going to provide for themselves? If a woman's husband dies, she has no means of providing for herself. Her options were manual labor, or to be a beggar, or to offer her services to somebody in
Yeah.
exchange for food, clothing, and shelter. That was their system. It was their way of providing for the less fortunate. Orphans, when the Bible talks about taking care of orphans, you can't
Orphans
think
and
of that
widows.
in terms of 21st century America. You had to think in
No.
terms of a kid without anybody feeding him,
Yes.
out there on the street. They didn't have orphanages, you
Hmm.
know. So when it talks about visiting orphans, it's not talking about in an orphanage.
Yeah.
And we have those mechanisms today. We have ways of taking care. I mean, if a woman has a $10 million insurance policy on her husband and he gets killed and she collects $10 million, she's set.
Yep.
And there was no such thing thousands of years ago in their society. So you're going to take those things into consideration.